everybody, this is Andy Collins with Tradia Partners. We are ready to get started with this SalesPad demo. We've got a group here in our conference room and a number attending remotely, so we thank you for your time. All right, so welcome everybody that's here, and hello to everybody on the phone. So I'm Tyler, and I have been at SalesPad for about a year, and I cover sales for all of the California customers that we have. So today we've got a mix of some SalesPad customers, some non-SalesPad customers, and obviously partners. So I'll kind of try to keep it broad, and feel free to ask questions at any time. Keep it more of a conversation base. So if we're looking at something, feel free to ask a question. And if you can't hear us or the screen is not refreshing, just you can type a note in the comment section so we know. That'd be great. Thanks. Yeah, and you can throw questions on the chat as well. So basically, so SalesPad is a suite of products. We have our main product that we'll cover today. We just call it SalesPad Desktop. But then I just wanted to share that we do have a bunch of other services that tie into our main product. So things outside of SalesPad that we provide, we've got mobile apps, and I'm just going to touch on that a little bit later. We've got a full warehousing solution called Data Collection. We've got a shipping integration with FedEx and UPS, and our product we call Ship2. Ship Center is similar, but we add packaging functionality, and it'll automatically print the documents that go into the box, create your boxes for you, that kind of stuff. Mobile reporting, that's part of those two go hand in hand, and I'll touch on those a little bit later. And then we have a product we call SalesPad Plus, but it basically provides some features that SalesPad offers to a GP user. It's kind of like a little window, gives them more robust searching within GP. So feature-wise, hit on a few of the main points that we see our customers liking SalesPad and reasons that they use SalesPad. Big one is the unlimited user-defined fields. That can be for any business object, and that allows people to report and really filter down a lot of information for a customer. We have advanced automated workflows. The CRM, we call it a light CRM. It's not a full CRM platform, but the basic stuff that you need to be able to do. So the benefits, really, we take a lot of the time that the GP users take in the system. So whether it's creating sales documents, finding information, finding customers, that's kind of our bread and butter. We take a lot of the time out of doing that because it's just more efficient and it's easier to navigate. And here's just an example of the different industries we're in. We've pretty much got customers doing just about everything. It's very flexible. We put SalesPad in, and then it can be configured in as many ways as the customer needs. And we also do, we can customize just about anything. Most of our customers end up having some customization, probably 70%. So pretty much if you need something to be done, we can handle doing that. And I think where we've seen it very commonly is people that have a large volume of sales transactions. So a lot of distributors is a good fit for SalesPad. Yeah, and then just in terms of the number of salespeople or order entry people out in the field. Yeah, definitely order entry. That's a position we can really increase efficiencies. And like you said, larger organizations, there's never going to be one piece of software that's cookie cutter that works for everybody. Everybody has different needs. Everybody has different workflows. They do things differently. So that's where we're highly configurable to help once they go within it. It's 70% exactly what they need, and then we tailor it even farther for them. So our SalesPad mobile app, I'm just going to pull that up in a little bit, but basically it extends the information from GP to a mobile, whether it's iPhone or Android. You can create sales documents. You can view any information, whether that's inventory or customers or sales. You can also move things in workflow. So you're maybe in accounting or something, and something comes to you to be approved. If you're out of the office, you can easily approve things and pass them through back to the workflow. Because in today's day and age, let's think distribution, right? I mean, everybody wants it tomorrow. Like, Amazon sets the standard that anything over 2 days is basically unacceptable. So the more efficient you can be at getting the, it's probably only going to get like to a day or something.
2 hours in
In certain markets, yeah, prime markets. Not in Michigan. But yeah, so if you let's say the bar is 2 days, you can't spend a half a day processing orders. You need to get them in your system, out to your, distribution company, or depending on what you do. It's going to help you have a competitive advantage. And that I will just pull up SalesPad. I'll do that. So the way the licensing works for SalesPad is we do not consume a seat of GP. So I would say in most cases, let's say your organization has 50 seats of GP, we see a ratio somewhere around maybe 40 SalesPad users and 10 GP users, because you still need your core accounting personnel in GP, because what SalesPad doesn't do is posting and some of the GL stuff. We leave that to GP. Well, other than that, so SalesPad, this is what SalesPad looks like here. And that one.
Yeah, either one of those two. You can hold it, yeah.
So basically, when users are in SalesPad, that they aren't in and don't need to be in GP. Everything that you can do in GP can be done in SalesPad. And we read and write to the same exact tables. So if we create something or we update something, there's no syncing or updating. It's pulling from the same table. So you'll never have inaccurate information between the two. And then we also create our own fields. So for a lot of the stuff we do that GP doesn't, or for example, user-defined fields that you're tracking, we store all of that information in our own fields in the same database.
It actually brings your licensing costs down because the per user cost in SalesPad is actually less than the GP per user cost.
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of, I call this the home screen, but it's just my customer search. So like I said, a lot of times we see customer service reps, those are the people using this, creating orders, answering the phone. So right here from this window, it's powerful. But what we do here that you can't do in GP is just being able to search so easily and quickly for something. So maybe my customer calls and his name's Frank, but I don't know where he's from. I can just search Frank. And I'll just highlight them so you can see it's pulling any of my customer cards. So these are all my different customers. That Frank is somewhere on any of these fields. So it's real quick to pull something like that. So right now I'm looking at all of my customers. So the other good thing here is, like I said, it's highly configurable to the user. So not everybody wants to look at the same information. So maybe I want to, maybe you like things in a certain order. You can just drag and drop them and these all stay per user. And if I just take something and pull it off, I don't have to look at it. So you can have as much or as little information as you want. So it just makes it that much quicker when you're finding things. And I can also go to this column chooser. So a lot of these are standard user fields, but these are also all the user fields that I've created in my system that I want to track about a customer. So this is powerful for maybe you want to send birthday cards to everybody. I mean, you can easily have those dates, and then you can sort and do a monthly report to send out birthday cards, or contracts. If you have customers with contract dates, you can do that. And then when you sort, okay, I don't have any dates in there. But customer class, anything you want to create, you can see I've just got a list of all sorts of things.
Pulling every address card against the customer as well. The customer has multiple address cards.
I can go into one right now. So I'll pull up Aaron Fitz. So another thing here, I'll get to that question, but this popped up. So this is a pop-up notes in GP. You have the little yellow sticky note. And I have a lot of people tell me, like, we put notes in there, but I can't make my people click it every time, you know. So this pops up every time I open up the customer card. So it makes it a little more, when you have to OK out of it, you know your people are seeing that information. And you were asking about customer addresses. So here on the bottom, so this is a customer card. And down here I have all of my addresses for this customer. It's unlimited. You can have as many as you need to. The other thing that's kind of cool is you can see at the top here, so these are my different document types that I can create. And they will always default to what you use last. So if you use, you know, if you got to use this is what we call a data collection order type. The cool thing is if I just have that highlighted on an address and I create a document, it'll default to that address. And it's really easy to change on the document if you do, you know, you sell to Best Buy or something and you need to have all their addresses in the system. So a couple things I wanted to hit on for sure right off the bat. So we've got security and settings around everything you see in SalesPad. So you can have different user group levels, or you can have individual rights. You know, so maybe you have a set of rights for all of your customer service reps. You can dial into anything in the system and make it so that they either can or can't do something. They can view only. They can't update certain fields. Anything, you can really drill down exactly what the shredder's going to be doing. Or, for example, you can see I unfortunately have a ton of modules because I have most of them turned on, but all of these tabs have more. So you can turn, like, when we set it up for a user, if they're not going to use items, we just turn them off. So you can continue cleaning up the system, having things easily accessible to go to, and then just turning things off that you're not going to use. And for example, I'll show you. So these are all different settings, probably a couple thousand settings that you can do. Let's just pull up the customer card. Anything with an asterisk has more. So like I said, it's either by group or specific user. I can go in and say, can this user create invoices, create orders, create quotes, create returns? Do you want them to be able to see the cost? I mean, you can, like I said, just drill it right down to what needs to be there. And as you're seeing, as I'm doing these things, they just tab off, which is another nice thing. You can have as many windows open as you want. So as I'm on the phone, working with a customer on an order, I hang up the phone and I need to do something, and then another customer calls in, I can simply open up another tab. You don't have to close out of what you're doing or try to remember to go back or take notes. You can just continue tabbing them. You can also untab them. So if you have multi-monitors and you want to keep maybe a customer search up or something, you can always have that on a separate screen, or comparing documents, that kind of stuff. So I'll go back into my customer card. Anything that's blue is a hyperlink to something. So for example, in this top right, so this is back to our customer card. So this is Aaron Fitz Electrical. In the top right, we have every open sales, every open document that's not historical. So any quotes, orders, returns. So once again, easy access to finding that information for those customers. You can search, filter, but then right from here, you know, I can click them and it'll pull up the sales document for me. There's nothing on my sales document. But and same thing too, you know, customer calls in, they want, hey, I want to see what orders we placed in last month. You can simply filter by date and start talking to them about these specific orders, pull them all open. And once again, any of these grids, you can pull in any columns, customize them to your liking. And all these grids are also, you can export them to Excel as well, any of them, including like addresses, customer addresses, whether it's some customer wants to see all their orders for the last half a year, you can easily filter down and just send them. And you can email right out of SalesPad, fax out of SalesPad. So this, on the top left of my customer card, is kind of just pertinent account information. You have price level, terms, whatever you want. Again, whatever you do or don't want there, I can customize this layout. and pull in any fields I do or don't want to see. Or maybe I don't want lead source there, and I just want to start keeping it real clean and tight. Or you can pull things in and set them however you want them to be. So I'll go over a few things at the bottom. You can see I've got all these tabs still for this customer card. So I'll hit on a few that I think are important. So here's our CRM. This is what I noted earlier. It's more of a light CRM. It's not a full platform, but usually this, in most cases, this is what our customers are looking for. It's not going to compete with Salesforce or something, but it gives you the simple stuff like taking notes, putting interactions. We integrate to Outlook, so you can directly from Outlook you can just I've got this SalesPad button, and I can just highlight an email and send it right, and it'll look at the it'll search that email and ask you. It'll basically pop up, and it will show you anything that email address pertains to. So that's cool because it'll pull up. You can just put it right onto their customer card, or it'll show you all the open sales documents. So maybe you're working on a quote and you send a follow-up to a customer. When you do that, you can just click the box, and then it'll write it right to that sales document. So then if people are viewing, seeing your workload, what you're doing, are you calling customers, that kind of stuff, it's all accessible. So here's just a list of interactions, notes that I've taken, maybe phone calls, followed up on pricing, and once again, I can search. I just type in pricing, and now I can see every conversation that I had about pricing with this customer. Or in today's day and age with turnover, employees leave, and somebody, well, I talked to Tom, he told me you could do price, and you can look up those types of conversations and make sure you're helping your customer out. You can also create tasks for Outlook. So I can create a task to a specific document. Maybe in a week I want to follow up on an order or something. I can create that in SalesPad, and I'll push it out to my Outlook calendar. That way you're not maintaining more than one calendar. We do have it visible. There's a calendar in SalesPad it'll all populate to as well. Pretty much functions like Outlook, but then we bump it out because nobody really wants to have an Outlook calendar and 2, 3, 4 calendar. You need one calendar. AR tab is kind of cool. Provides some high-level information. You can see your customer aging. This is pretty powerful. And once again, I said anything blue, the hyperlinks. If I click on balance, it's going to pull up every document that's a part of the balance that it's showing me. Which this is powerful because when customers get behind and you want them to make payments, maybe you can come up here and filter, and maybe you want them to start paying maybe it's their oldest ones, or maybe you want them to pay off a handful of the largest ones. But you can, sort by the dates, and they can just pay an order, and right from here I can open up any of those documents. So quick access. And once again, this can be turned off, so if users can't see this or shouldn't see this. If I hover over the customer name up there, it kind of gives me the same information. These two are powerful, item history and sales document history. I'll show you one because they function in the same way. So this is for this specific customer, and you could do this outside of this screen. We've got this that you could do for every customer. Like if you want to see how many times we sold one product, you can track that. But this one is going to be customer specific. So if I want to see how many times I sold them a 40 gigabyte hard drive in the last 24 months, how many times I invoiced them, just like that, I've got a report, and I've got, looks like I sold them 19 in the last 20, I've invoiced them 19 times for that item in the last 24 months. You can see average cost, average sell price, historical sell prices.
Is that using the inventory information within SalesPad, or is that coming out of that?
Nope, we have full inventory management. I can pull some of those up in a minute too.
How would you export that to Excel? You said you can export it.
Yeah, I can just right-click and export. I have my setting turned off, but
okay.
It would just be
allow you to right from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's real easy.
So since you have all these custom fields, can you just do a quick gross margin, like say for every invoice, you would calculate an average margin of what you sold for like this hard drive?
Like calculated fields, like tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Pull up a document real quick. The other thing you can do is we've got, we can do gross profit per line item, or it's also gives you a document total up here. I'm circling at the top. And we can also set rules. Like we actually have a plugin. These are all additional features. There's a lot to it that can be done. But I also have a plugin that you can just put, I want 30% margin on this product, and it calculates the sell price for you as well. Or maybe you're in an organization where you can price is adjustable, but they say never sell below a 25% margin or something. So that allows them to easily be like, okay, here's the lowest price I could sell for. So that's the same thing for the sales document. So if you want to track how many orders I've had with this customer, or quote how many times I've quoted the customer versus how many times they've placed an order with me, that kind of stuff. Same idea, but looking at sales documents. Here's just additional areas. So we've got all these user fields up here that we were looking at the bottom. This just gives me more space to put user fields, and they can be dates, checkboxes, text, numbers, anything you want them to be, images. And they're really easy to make. It takes 20, 30 seconds to make a new field and set up the parameters you want it to look at. Just some plotting some data for you. Really easy with different options, time periods. If you're looking at price, cost, profit, that kind of stuff. When it comes to handling pricing structures, it's easiest just to say we can usually handle anything because we've got special pricing, contract pricing. We've got 3 or 4 different pricing modules, and we haven't ran into many customers that we can't handle. If they do buy 2, get 3 free, or spend more than $100, get 10% off, we can start to add all that logic in. So when they're creating the sales documents, they're not having to remember to do those things, or spend $200 get free shipping. We've got customers doing that kind of stuff.
Reading the GP price list at all? Creating your own price list in SalesPad, independent of GP price list.
There is, I don't know that off the top of my head, but we have a document that goes through. So say a customer has special pricing, contract pricing, a few things. We have a document that goes through and shows the order in which that we evaluate pricing.
My understanding when you do a sales order, it takes native pricing in GP, but then on top of that, you can layer it with all the special, similar to what extended pricing would do within GP, but now you've got contracts, you've got, as you can see up there. That was my understanding. When you do just a general sales order and SalesPad, it would read off the GP price list to start with. But then if you want to get more complex, you can utilize your pricing engines.
Yeah, and I don't ever implement it or set it up, more or less. I don't. It's just a question. I don't know though.
It's using eConnect to speak to GP, so the item tables, right, orders, customers, all that stuff. We're reading live into GP.
Multiple price lists, obviously.
Yeah.
Just have your retail. You could
right.
All these potential price lists you could set out. Would you be able to access those as well, or this would recreate them?
We end up creating the price list in SalesPad. So it takes the baseline out of GP and then you build all the rest of the stuff. So if you want to have special pricing for a special group of customers, you could do that, but you set it up in sales. So essentially,
The other thing on
using extended pricing also. It's a little more robust.
So I'll just pull up, since we're talking about inventory, I'll pull up an item and what that looks like. So I pull up this hard drive again, 40 gigabyte hard drive. I've got all my user fields. Once again, I pull in additional, but this is going to give me available inventory, what's on hand, and it's going to break it down. If you have multi-bin or multi-location, this is over here in the bottom right. It's going to show me where all my inventory is, what I have available.
But that's reading GP. All of that is GP fields, right?
Yeah, GP handles most of the inventory. We respect it and pull it all in the SalesPad. And then so if I go to item properties, I can pull, if I had GP open, I can click this button and it'll pull up this item in GP for me, the window as well. But then we've got, if you have a user, a GP user. Yeah, right. Because a lot of them won't be GP users.
This is true. Put the GP users in?
Nope, they'd be totally separate. So you'd use SalesPad or,
with your sales
yeah.
profile.
Correct. So you can see there's all sorts of information on pricing and item setup and historical information. And all these tabs all pertain to this, this one piece of inventory. Whether you got item serial numbers, lot tracking, all that information. Here's an email audit. Because in the system you can email documents, create a quote or an order, an invoice for a customer. You can email it right to them, and then it just creates an audit trail. So you can always go look back and see, or you can actually pull up the body of the email from here as well. And you can create automated stuff. We can insert information too. We just set this up for you. So maybe you want a canned response, but to be more personal, thank you for your order you placed today. And we can insert dates, numbers. We can, pertain to that document, so we can start to make this a little more detailed instead of just a generic thank you for your order. Yes. So when so this is an order. I'll just save it. My computer's on its last leg. So from here, I go to print. So from here I can, let's just say order confirmation. I'll just preview it. We also create every report specific to the user, and we can add any information, logos to them. So this is very plain and generic, but we can add in logos and any field you do or don't want on there. So that's what that's going to look like. But from here I can just email that document, and it'll give me a drop down of the ones on account for that customer card. So real quick and easy to grab 3 people, hit OK, send it out to them. And then, like I said, here's a canned response that you could then update as well. And this can be done automatically. We can set it as part of your workflow. So maybe when you process an order to an invoice, we can automatically kick out that invoice to a default email on account. So you wouldn't even have to do it. It would just happen, and then it would put it back on that the audit log. That's where we really help with efficiency. We can start to automate all these little things. We can evaluate all the documents. So like a big one, this is going to look confusing. So on the left, I'm grabbing one order type out of GP, and these are the rules that we set. So this is part of how our owner owns a very large distribution company as well. And he has 3 people that process 400 orders a day because they have all these automated rules that do things for them and evaluate. And it really is error-proof too. So basically how I have this set up is to evaluate these rules at the bottom. So you're not having to go through every order by hand. You're having the system work for you. For example, I have one for over credit limit. It's going to evaluate if that customer has a credit hold. So I don't have to go in, pull up their customer card, and look at their aging. We're going to evaluate that for them. Now this is some of the other ones, like if the order, maybe you want a sales manager to review an order that the margin is lower than 30%. We evaluate that, and it would be emailed right to that manager or somebody like that. Same with like an AR hold. It can go right to, we'll move it to a separate batch, and then somebody owns that batch, and can start to evaluate those. So we've got some companies that have 2, 3, 4, 5 rules. We've got some that have 100 rules. It's just a matter of how detailed, what you really want to evaluate. And then we set it up. You can see here I've got my different, we call it a queue, but this is just your GP batch. So we can set it up, at what stage we can come down and mark which rules we want to evaluate at one point. So this is actually the reason we were developed in 2003. Our owner owns that large distribution company, and he came to a developer and said, I need help. He literally had the boards on the wall, new orders and ready to pick and all that. And he's like, well, that doesn't really work for me. You drop one on the floor, or somebody puts one on the wrong, you miss customers' orders. And he's like, there's nothing out there for it. He's a GP user. He's like, there's nothing out there for it. He's like, we can write you some code. So now we have 2 owners, one that owns that company, and then the other one's been the original developer. So that's why this is built out really well, because it's the exact reason we were first made, and then they were using it for 2 years, and a lot of people could probably use this, and now we've got 1,300 businesses running on SalesPad. I don't know if anybody in here does it all, but we have equipment tracking. So think of like a Comcast. They send you a modem or something, right? And they need to track that, track service calls against it. They just want a history of that item so that they can always go back and see. Maybe it's 4 years old, it's been serviced 3 times, and they throw it away, or who had it prior to this. So that's another feature that some customers are using.
So this tracking only if you want to do repair or something?
Yeah, no, you can do service calls off of, create service calls against it.
In here in SalesPad, create service calls.
Mm-hmm. So we have,
I was talking more specific on the item itself. If it was in your example of Comcast modem, and then you actually repair modems as well, and needing to take parts out of inventory to repair those modems, and that doesn't come to that level of granularity and detail or not.
So you're basically saying, let's use a modem, right? There's a piece broken or a cord or something to it. You're saying, if I own those cords, like, am I able to like apply that to that item and pull it from my inventory? It's a really good question. I have to write it down and get an answer.
I come from a company background where they would take, so for instance, it's modem and actually repair it as well, and so they'll pull out a board and they can perhaps repair transistors or resistors and stuff like that that were in inventory. And we had a difficulty of how do we requisition stuff out of inventory and get it put onto this and track what was actually put to repair that one item number or serialized item.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a really good question. And same thing with lot tracking, serial tracking. You can dive in, like I said, so it's a serial number, or it's a hyperlink, so I can pull these open. There's probably not anything tied to it. So then this is a specific serial item of this phone that I'm renting out as a piece of equipment, and I've got the same thing at the bottom, a bunch of tabs that I can see. Looks like, and this is just a dummy database. So this is where you could come in and see warranties, item history. So the item history, you can see where that device has been. This is just a general audit, which is actually really nice. So maybe somebody goes in and changes the payment terms on accident or on purpose. Change it, and then it's going to log what user, date and time stamp it, any change in the system, whether in any field, anything you're adding, subtracting, deleting. So it's nice to go back sometimes to figure out how things happened. I know at my last company we had to dive into audit trails pretty in-depth to find information. Something like this would have helped us a lot. So this resources tab is the last one I'll hit on. I personally think it's a bad name, but essentially this is just document storage. So it's like a paper save. You're replacing, it's a document management. So I can attach, for this customer, maybe I'm doing some promos or I have contracts with them, I can just attach any file type and it'll save it to the customer card. And that is on sales documents as well. So it helps people go paperless. They send a quote out and they get an order back in, they just attach it to it. They don't need to keep a trail. They've got all the documents attached and it stays with that document through its entirety, whether it's a quote, order, invoice, it'll always be attached to it. Another thing we can do, so like the promos, we have a company that they store some promo documents, and then when they email out a quote or an order, it automatically grabs the specific documents they want to send. So all they do is email the one document, but it's sending the other documents with it. So we did jump in inventory a little bit, but I just want to go back to this and revisit it for a second. So same thing, really easy to find. I can start to type and it'll, if I just type a W, it's going to filter everything. It starts with a W. But we also do this, the wild card, so I can put an asterisk and search for anything. So maybe I don't see just where anything with a stage in it or hard drive. Now I've got a list of all my items that have hard drive in the name. So yeah, this screen is going to provide all the information regarding, you can pull in amount on order in transit of inventory. If you ordered it in, you've got 300 coming. You can pull columns in for that kind of stuff. Not too much to talk about on the inventory. Trying to think if there's anything else. Again, a resources tab for all of these things, so you can store, maybe it's a chassis and you want to store diagrams for it. We do a lot with like a couple transmission companies, so they'll have a transmission, they'll have all the pieces and the breakdowns of it, and they just store all that there. So I'll just create an order then in the system. This is, it looks the same as a quote, so I'll just start with an order. And once I save it, it'll create a document number for me, it's like GP. So here it's also really easy to add and find information. So I can just simply type in, like you would in GP if I know what my item is. In this case, I'll pull a 50 gigabyte hard drive. Maybe the next one I don't know what the item number is. I can just type in anything. Maybe I know it's a hard drive, but I don't know what other options I have. If I just tab off, it pulls up a whole inventory search. And then from here, you can, once again, it's searching anywhere HD is in any of these items, and then from here, maybe I want to see the hard drive, see what options I have. Or hard drives, oh yeah, the 700 gigabyte one, and I can add that right there to the order. And this item is red, and that is only because it's a setting I have. It's out of stock, so it's just an alert right there. So you don't necessarily have to go look at inventory. If it's red, you got to look into it. If it's white, like this top one, then you're good to go on inventory. So the other thing I can do, I just save this and add the purchase button here. So assuming that maybe a purchaser has to purchase it, but if you can purchase right from the sales document too. It's going to recognize I'm out of stock of this item, and it's going to I can create a PO from my default vendor. You can certainly change the vendor, but right from there it'll create a PO, and you can adjust quantities. In this case, it sees I only need one, and just like that, I have a PO created, and I can email it right from here to my vendor for purchasing.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because it's not just a sales tool. You can also do purchase orders with. So if you have people that are doing purchasing departments, they might just have access to SalesPad and not any access to GP.
In most cases, we see purchasing staying within SalesPad. Receiving is really, really easy too. And once again, we can put that as part of your workflow too if you want. We could have this automatically generate that PO for any back-ordered items.
Is this automatically allocating that inventory? What if people in different locations are on the road or logging in and they're all pulling the same inventory at the same time?
So that'll go back to we respect what GP does, and it's based on document type. So in this case, not to confuse, so our other product is called data collection. So this is a DC order type for me. So I know I'm fulfilling in the warehouse because we have like the scan gun technology. So I know that I'm fulfilling in the warehouse manually, whereas I have just a distribution order type where it just grabs the inventory right away. Just grabs, based on, I don't know what the method is the GP uses, but the method of that would just grab any available inventory. So that's just the document setup, and we don't change anything about document setup in regards to respecting what GP does. That makes sense.
But this is real time into GP, so you would know if you went and
same tables.
I got a tablet, and I'm at one location, and Andy's at another sales location with a customer that's trying to buy the same part. And there's 10 in stock, and I just take the 10 and begin to know that.
I wouldn't see them. If you took the 10, I would see that you took the 10 immediately. Because it's real time, yeah.
Yeah.
I really need it.
So that's similar to that. So we have customers now where we can do like safety holds and safety stocks of specific customers. So for example, if you sell with Amazon and they guarantee 2 days and you run out of stock of an item, you don't do business with Amazon anymore. They don't mess around with that kind of stuff. So we can do that to where maybe you sell cell phone cases, right? And you always want 15,000 held for Amazon. We can set that for that customer, and then maybe you have another customer come in and you actually have 20,000 in stock, right? And they want to purchase 10,000, but it's going to tell you you don't have it. And you have visibility to it, but it's going to hold that because we can put that hold so that you can only sell to Amazon and you don't run into stock issues. because that is
reserve an inventory by customer. Yeah. Oh, pretty cool. Yeah.
So at the top right here, the button is called release. Basically just means push it to the next step in my workflow, evaluate all my rules. I believe I have a rule set up for the low margin. So in this case, I have a negative 20% margin, just the way this is set up. So when I hit release, if it's for this document type, it should bump it. So this can pop up manually, so you can print or email to your customer, or we can, again, automate that so that it's not coming up.
You got like 5 minutes, probably. If there's something you want to get to.
No, it's right there. So this moves it to the next step in my picking, but if I was to set that rule for this work type, for this specific one, it would bump it to needs review batch or something, whatever you define, if it had a low margin or it's too large of an order, something of that nature. And just, I guess the last thing then I'll hit on here, like we mentioned a minute ago, full purchasing capabilities. It looks just like customer cards. I can pull up a vendor, create the orders, and receiving is real easy in SalesPad. So it's going to pull in any PO, open PO I have right now. And again, some places manually receive and count every item. Some places they just receive, they trust their vendor, hey, you send me 2,000 of these, I don't have time to go through every box or whatever. I can simply just receive the shipment in full, or I can manually type in a separate amount for that.
You create new customers here, and it'll feed into GP, create new address cards, it'll feed into GP.
New items.
Yes. And so it's essentially a full front end. Like, I mean, somebody that's not in accounting and posting, they can do anything and everything directly from SalesPad. There's not, as far as I know, there's not anything that's missing that they can't do that the GP, that they're doing GP.
How do security ended up in the first thing?
Yeah, sorry you missed that at the beginning.
Oh, sorry.
Very granular. There you go.
Yeah, we've got security and settings. So when I pull up security, oops.
I know the settings can be copied, right?
Yes. And so here's a user in groups, or I can grab individual people. And then just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of settings.
And down to the field, you get right. You can say, view only, do not edit.
Yeah. So like, for example, customer card.
Oh,
Here's
okay.
everything. And even on my customer card, you can see I have the rights for some of these fields are view only. So you make things view only, not changeable, not viewable.
Other questions here? I'm sorry, did you?
No,
anything
I
else
was
you
checking.
sure you showed?
No, I was checking the chat here to see if
Okay.
anybody had any questions on there.
Yeah, just hit that under questions. That there's a plus down. If you open that back up.
Oh, I did not know that was there.
You can expand that so you can see the question.
Oh,
I already covered that. Question was, we focused on sales orders, you also cover purchase orders, yes, which we handled there at the end.
correct.
I got a question on the kind of the pricing side. So everything you showed, is this part of the core product, or is it based on modules? Or
Almost everything is part of core. So like every one of these tabs is a core.
Purchasing is part of core?
Yeah. All the day-to-day stuff. Trying to think, for example, if there's anything that's really where you start to add on to a core user would be tying in like other
Credit card
processing or
barcode scanning.
barcode scanning. We do EDI automation with
Yeah.
SPS Commerce.
Okay.
And then we integrate with Notice technologies for credit card payments. So that's kind of stuff where it's add-on. There are a few,
So like workflows,
that's all included. Yeah, it's just all core. And as we come up with new things too, we add them for everybody. So when you have SalesPad, there's an annual enhancement just like GP, and as long as you're current on GP, you can always take the new builds from us. And we add features that because we do a lot of custom stuff, and then we add, if it's something other people can use, we add it. So for example, this resources, document storage, we actually did this last year as a custom for somebody. And I'm like, well, everybody can use it, so we added it in. So as long as you're current on enhancement, you always have access at no cost to pull in new stuff that we come out with, assuming that it's not a paid feature.
Mobile, is that included?
Mobile is separate.
Okay, so if you want to be able to approve a sales order or a purchase order on your phone,
Yep, that's separate.
User license.
But you've got, like I said earlier, pretty much full functionality on the mobile to GP, to creating orders, documents, live inventory. Like we see a lot of people that go to trade shows and stuff that have them. They can create a set instead of writing something down or an order to place later at night. Like they can create an order right now if they want to take payment or a signature from a customer. They can, and they can put it right into their workflow. So by the time that person gets home, whatever they ordered from you could be sitting on their doorstep. Yeah. So it's pretty powerful. The mobile is a retail $600.
Does that include iPad or is it only iPhone?
Nope.
Okay.
iPad, iPhone, Android.
Does it have any capability when the internet's down?
Yes.
Still doing it?
Yeah, we have an offline mode.
Offline, yeah.
So there's obviously certain things you can't do. You can't pull up live inventory.
Right.
Some of those people at a trade show, so the Wi-Fi is terrible, like they always are. You can create those sales documents, and it'll automatically sync when it does get service, and it'll send those back out. So, yep, it's a full offline mode. And the other thing I didn't say too is we have documentation on everything. We've got a couple thousand, and they're all on our website. But also, like I just right-clicked on my customer card. I can go to links, SalesPad documentation, and just like that, now I've got a direct link right here. So maybe I'm trying to do something on the customer card and I don't know how to do it.
Right.
Now I've got, and the customer card one is large, but it'll walk you through how to do anything and everything.
Awesome.
So we probably have, I would say, several thousand documents on how to do anything you can. This is 17 pages just on the customer card. It'll help you set up, walk through, troubleshoot.
I saw a point of sale somewhere on there. Do you have a point of sale interface, or you basically could use this as a point of?
We developed, we have full point of sale for QuickBooks that we released like 3 weeks ago. It's supposed to be a really big opportunity for us. We're expecting to have 10,000 businesses running on our POS for QuickBooks. We're taking that code and putting it to GP.
Okay.
So we don't have a timeline. I would probably guess this time next year of full-blown POS for GP, which is very large market.
So,
Working with Retail Pro too, aren't you?
Retail Pro?
Yeah, it's a point of sale system.
No.
I know there's an East Coast company that's working with SalesPad.
are you, what point of sale system are you working with? Or?
I'm trying to remember who. We developed this one with a company for QuickBooks, and then we hacked that relationship because they had terrible service for the end users and stuff. And so we're white labeling. I don't know what the engine's going to be. We're white labeling. It's SalesPad PLS is
Okay.
what we call it. But that's definitely probably about a year. I would guess a year. In SalesPad, we do have what we call counter sales. If you don't do high volume, if you don't do high volume, and this is core too. Real quick, counter sales. So it's a good example I have is say like a beverage distribution company, right? Sometimes they have damaged goods, or they sell like in a little shop to employees or something, right? You can do counter sales, and you can run credit cards. We just create a generic customer card, so we just run all those transactions to a customer card that you're not tracking. Or if they are return customers, you can do that as well. And essentially, it's full POS capabilities. We're not selling this as POS, but we do have a customer right now that's probably going to purchase, and they'll be our largest. And they have 3 locations, 11 registers, so they're doing volume, actual volume of it. But it's another one like those things that like it's just nice to have. Like a lot of things are just like you don't need another system. Then like if you did take 50 orders a month or something, that way, then you're not buying another system. Or if you need equipment tracking or just different items, so we really just want to make it as easy for customers to not deal with so many people, really. We just went into a customer, and they had 23 ISVs they were using. They had so much going on in there, they couldn't do their upgrades. and they can't take everything out and then upgrade because they were just dead in the water. So they put SalesPad in, and now they have 5 ISVs besides us. So you just start to eliminate the need for so many parties working with each other. Then you start to have complications and who owns it, right? If 2 companies are speaking at one time, I found.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when we own it all, like, we do have really good support. I think we average less than 2-minute wait for support. We've got probably I don't know, 15 full-time support staff.
That's cool.
Yep. Any other questions on that? Just to double check the question. Yeah, double check online. Yeah,
And you kind of like the whole like purchasing aspect of including like requisitions to purchase orders or just purchase orders?
Just purchase orders.
So you need to be, you need to have a full user. Is it named or concurrent?
Concurrent.
It's concurrent. Okay. Any other questions here?
I think we had it.
Here we go. Oh, there's another. Barcode scanning.
So, in a nutshell, compared to Fellows, in a nutshell, we're going to be a third of the cost. We don't do as much as the Fellows, but we do, I would say, almost all the standard stuff: picking, packing, stock counts, adjustments. That's something we can, Eric, you and I can do a little demo with you sometime too. But essentially, we do, I would say, almost all the core requirements. Then you start to get people with really advanced systems and automated tracking systems. That's when a Fellows wins. But we're more similar. I assume you're familiar with Panatrack. I would say we're pretty much Panatrack, if you're familiar with that product. And it's really, a lot of our customers that buy it, they really, really like the price point for what they need. A lot of times they're not a huge operation. They don't need a full, huge warehouse management solution. They've got, maybe a distribution center, twice the size of his office, and they've got, a couple hundred products, and I get to close Eric up now. Boot him. I don't think you realize it ends up on the screen. Okay, well.
Automatically, right, from our associates, there's just a functionality where it does post like a bin transfer or whatever, and stuff like that.
So everything would still need to be posted in GP to be live. The only thing that we do handle would be a internal bin transfer. A site transfer would need to be posted, but if I just pick up an item and say I'm going to scan the shelf, I want to move this to there, that's live. But everything else, just create a. For everybody for joining us. This concludes the our webinar on SalesPad. Take care. Have a good day.